All right, we are going live, Strider. What do you think? What? I said your name, didn't I? Yup. All right, welcome everybody. Thank you for joining me. This is a happy Thursday morning, and we usually don't do videos at this point in time. Usually we're doing other things, editing videos and so forth, but right now we're doing something a little bit different, and that is the Expanded Realms Gaming Building Challenge. And what this is, a friend of mine reached out to me and said, "Hey, we're running this challenge with tabletop terrain. What do you think? Would you be interested in joining?" I was like, "Sure, that sounds like a fun thing to do." So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be painting this Super Noodle building. Now it's a modular building. It has different levels to it, so you can take. It's for tabletop miniature gaming, and basically I believe it is 32 millimeter. Let me look at that real quick. I believe that's the I'm looking it up. I'm sorry. I should have had this already in my mind. I'm pretty sure it's 32. Yep, 32 millimeter buildings. So that's what the size of these buildings are, the scale, if we want to put it that way, 32 millimeter scale for 32 millimeter sized miniatures. And so you're talking, cyberpunk miniatures from Monster Fight Club. I think Warhammer would still look okay with it. As far as like Warhammer 40K or something to that effect. But this is the entire building set up. And I have primed it already with some matte white primer from Army Painter. So that's what I've done there. I'm almost out of that, as a matter of fact. And here's one of the floors that goes in it, and here's the front door that goes in it to it as well. So we're going to be taking a look at this and filling it out. But I do want to go over real quick, just give a little bit of a focus on the actual challenge. So here we have the actual challenge, and it's by Expanded Realms Gaming, Tabletop Terrain. Those are the two companies that are putting this on. And feel free to go to their websites and check them out, because they look like they do pretty cool stuff. Tabletop Terrain does a lot of 3D printed terrain. That's what this is. It's a 3D printed building. And so they have a lot of different things that you can go and look at. And the three that are available for this challenge are these three buildings. I liked this one the best. This one just looked too small, honestly. And this one, I didn't like the shape of it, and I didn't like all of these things right here. I was like, painting behind those things is going to be a pain. I don't want to do that, but that's my personal thing. This one looked like it would be a fun building to tackle, so that's the one that I chose. And they went ahead and sent it to me. And between May 1st and May 31st, we're going to paint and share work in progress pictures. And we're also going to be using that Tabletop Terrain's Facebook page. So hopefully we'll be able to get to that in a little bit. I'll take some pictures after we're done today of the first step, because I don't think I'll finish today. But Jolly Lark, this dude is a painter and a half. Oh my goodness. Dude can paint. I got to witness a lot of his work when I was working with Monster Fight Club, and oh my goodness, this dude can paint. And so these are his renditions of these buildings. So these are the two that I did not choose, the Red Dragon and then the small. This is what his version looked like. I think I'm going to take some inspiration from it. Not all, but some. So we'll see how it turns out. That's what I'm looking to try to replicate, though, but we'll see how that works out. I think it'll be a fun paint. So I have done a little bit of prepping, so to speak. I've done some prepping on it. Let me get to the second screen here. And so you can see that there's a little bit of discoloration right here. What I've done is I took some skeleton bone and I just put it into the crevices, and then I took a napkin and just wiped off the top edges of it so that the grout kind of settles into it. Now, I don't know exactly how, I may have wasted my time doing that, but because I'm going to use some speed paints, I think we're going to use Fire Giant Orange, and they are, since it's a speed paint, it's probably going to settle in some of those recesses, but I'm going to play with it and see what happens. But you see that it has some brick down here on the bottom, and then it has brick on both of these sides right here as well. And then the rest, Jolly Lark did a little bit of a, I think it looks like more of a concrete look on the bottom parts down here. But there's, I don't know. We'll see what I choose to do. I think concrete is a good way to go because I think it'll I don't know. I just think it'll be the best way to go. With concrete, I think concrete and brick will look good together with all of these metal accents and all of that kind of stuff, and all of these wires that are around. I think it's going to look pretty cool. But this is how I've started with my Super Noodle restaurant building. So we're going to go ahead and get down to that here in just a few minutes because it is pretty fun. All right, so let me go back over, see who we've got. We've got Luke Shiras here. Good morning. Good morning, Luke. Good to see you. Thank you for being here. All right, so what we're going to do here is we're just going to go ahead and get started with the... I'm really tempted to try to hit that brick first to see how that's going to turn out. So let's start with this small brick portion right down here on this one first, and then we'll go from there because I think that'll be a good test of what we're going to be looking at when I use this Fire Giant Orange speed paint. So I got to give that a good shake. I do have another angle over here that we'll use to try to give you a better idea on how everything's going. But we'll do that in just a little bit, just a few drops of that, because I want to see how this works before I use too much of it. Let's see here. Yeah, let's try this angle out now. The angle, the coloring on this angle, because it's on my iPhone, is a little bit wonky, so I do apologize for that, but we'll see how that works out. We'll see how that works out. All right. So, let's see, let's move these things out of the way. And I know, I got my hand in there. I'm just going to do this, and then I'm just going to kind of put this in here around the edges and see how that works. I think it might be all right, but again, we're just going to have to see. And I'm going to be covering over all of these other things, so I'm not really worried too much about getting this on all of these other things, but yeah, I don't know. I just don't know. All right. Kind of being a little... I think that'll look all right. I might need to do... It's a little light. I do agree with that, but I think it'll be okay after we get another coat of another coat of a strong tone on it or something like that. So I'm going to go ahead and I think I'm going to go ahead and go with that. That's going to look pretty good, I think. All right, so that part is done. That was a good little test. The rest of the stuff over here is going to be just concrete. That's kind of come out of it. So I don't know. That's a little. I think that looks pretty good. I think I'm going to be okay with it. This is going to be a metal door. I know that much. But this is going to be concrete. And the concrete's going to carry around over here. These are going to be metal along with these, and all this stuff is here is going to be metal as well. So concrete, 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 metal, 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 all that kind of thing. So maybe even do some buttons, some lights in here. I think that'll be pretty cool too. But anyway, I think that works all right. It's a little light, isn't it? But I think it works. I think it's good. So let's go ahead and try it out on these other things here. Let's see if I can find a good... Goodness gracious. Well, maybe that'll be okay. All right, let's see. We'll start on the small side over here and see how it works out. I don't want to be too messy, but I'm not worried too much about it. And I'm out of that orange, so I'm just kind of working that in there to see how it works out. Probably going to do another coat on it, but I do like the color of that brick. All right, good, good, good. So now I'll go ahead and put a little bit of extra stuff in here because we do have a lot of coverage to go. And I might even switch to a different brush so that I don't have to take so many different strokes on it, but I do want to kind of have it be a little bit darker. And we'll kind of let that pool around a little bit. Yeah, that's working pretty good. Not bad, I think. Not bad. That's going to look pretty good, I think. And yeah, I did get a little bit of messy on there, didn't I? But that'll be okay because that's going to be covered up with something else anyway. I think I am going to switch to a different brush though, so I can get a little bit more coverage. And I might need to move this so that it's not right in front of the camera. All right, so let's see, what do I use? I think I'm going to use this guy. Well, let's... All right, there we go. There we go. All right, let's see how this can go here. The cool thing about brick, at least in my opinion, is that it doesn't have to be all uniform the same color. So there can be a little bit of freedom here on how much paint I'm putting around on things right now compared to what it's going to look like on the final on the final thing here. So it's looking pretty good so far, I think. It's a little light in some places, but that's okay. It'll further differentiate itself later on too, because we're going to put some stains and some tones on there that will help darken it up where it needs to be darkened up in some spaces. Oh, dadgum, that was a little bit too much. But one of the things about painting is that you really just kind of try to, there are, of course, tried and true techniques that you should employ, but generally speaking, there's also a lot of freedom as well, and you just want to make it look the way you want it to look. So that's not bad for a brick wall, I dare say. And that's just one coat of speed paints on it, so that's not too bad. We'll let that dry and go on to the next one. Used up all the fire giant. Oh, why do I have such a hard time saying that? Fire giant orange. Goodness. All right. Now we have this one going up, and well, I'm being a little messy, aren't I? Let me just try to get around this corner here. This little serpentine thing is making things a little weird for me. So, how's everybody doing in the chat today? I do want to, this is not just a tutorial video for painting. I do want to see how you guys are doing. Let me know, sound off, and I'll be happy to answer questions, chat with you, and go from there, because that is kind of what this is all about. It's not just about me painting stuff, because that would get pretty boring pretty quick. It's more about me seeing how you guys are doing and going from there. Let's see. Still just Luke saying good morning. All right, well, that's okay. No worries at all. Let me see here. Let me do that. That lets me see how things are looking. Almost done with this wall too. Just do a little bit of pulling things around a little bit. Just want to try to make it look as much like brick as we can. Alrighty. In case you haven't noticed, I am not an expert. I am not a professional painter. This is just something that I like to do for a hobby. So if I can do this the way this is right now, it is very possible for you to do it this way as well. Because I, was not formally trained anywhere. I haven't really been doing this for consistently. Now, I have been painting miniatures for a while, many years in the making, but I have not been doing it consistently throughout those years. It's been definitely like an on and off type thing that we were doing. So that should give you a little bit of an idea on what kind of skill level we're talking about here. This is not very high tech. This isn't anything like that. This is mainly just a dude that wants to paint some stuff to make it look a little bit cooler. That's all. So again, you don't have to worry too much about any of that kind of stuff. If I can do it, you can do it. All right, so I think our brick is pretty much done, at least for that first coat. All right, and I think that's going to be most of our speed paint usage. Nah, I might change that up a little bit. Let me see, what kind of gray? Runic gray? No, I don't want that. Cloud blue. I want something that's gray. Holy white. No, I don't think so. Camel cloak? Nope. Absolution green. Well, that sounds interesting. Hardened leather? No. Not really any kind of a gray, huh? Oh, wait, there it is. Gravelord gray. I might use that for our flooring, actually. That sounds like it's a good thing. All right, let's go back up to this one right here while I get ready for that next part. Oh, let me see. Got to go here first, and then that. Having trouble with the angles this morning. Multiplayer is here. Hello, good to see you. What you painting? I am painting the Super Noodles building from Tabletop Terrain. If you go back a little bit, I think I also put the links to their websites in the description of the videos, so you can go check those out. But basically, this is the let's see, how can I say this? This is the building painting challenge from Expanded Realms Gaming and Tabletop Terrain. And I have agreed to do this because it just sounded like something fun to do. All right, St. Louis Keith said, I used to use speed paints on a brick wall too. I was going to paint the grout, but that was a step too far. Actually, I actually did put in some, as I said earlier, I did put in some skeleton bone grout. But I was like, you know what? I know that, I don't know if that's going to work too well because Gravelord Gray, that's really dark. But okay, well, we'll see. I'm going to try to do the, oh, dadgummit, I just put my fingerprints all over that. I'm stupid. All right, so let me see if I can use, what's that one going to look like? Yeah, that's a good angle for this. All right, so now we're going to do this right here, and we're going to use Gravelord Gray speed paints. It's really dark, but we'll see how it works on the flooring in here. And actually, that looks pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and go all in with this because that does actually fill in the cracks really nicely. And it'll provide a good foundation for that dark floor. So there's a lot of just I might use a bigger brush. This is, although back in there I might need that small brush. Yeah. Let's see. Getting ready to leave for work. Wish I could stay. No worries. Anthony's, have a great day. Oh, I don't know how this is going to work. Well, it is working, but it's using a lot of paint. So, I don't know. We'll have to see how this continues. Okay, it's starting to get there, I think. Okay, not bad, not bad. Provides the texture that's there, kind of necessary for the texture. It's not going to be an absolutely clean floor because it's an older building. So I think this is pretty good for a foundation. We'll see what we do. Maybe we'll touch it up with some a lighter gray or something like that, just to provide a little bit more highlight down there. And we're going to come back and hit the walls again as well. So the dark that's in there, probably not that big of a deal. Yeah, I think that'll work. That provides the texture for that floor. Not bad at all. Don't say so myself. Let's see here. What next? Well, let's see about, let's just stay with the same color for the flooring, and we'll see how this one does with the same thing. Let's see, there we are. And a lot of different strokes here, trying to get all of those different crevices. The hex pattern is a little bit more difficult than the squares on the last one, so I don't want it to look too bad, but at the same time we're probably going to have to come back and touch this up with something else, because frankly I don't like how this is looking. But it's a floor. I'm not too worried about it because it's going to be on the inside most of the time anyway. But I also don't want it to look like crap compared to the rest of the building. So we'll see what we do with this on the way. But this is probably just a base coat, I would imagine. We're going to do something else with this. because I'm not really liking this for the floor, for this floor. Okay, so that will, like I said, at least provide a basis. I'm just trying to make it look even right now, and that provides some pretty good texture for that. So that's not bad, but probably not the end of that one. Now, I think what we're going to do now for the brick is we're going to come away from speed paints a little bit, and we're going to use, where's that other one? There it is. We're going to use, where is it? Some uniform gray for the concrete. And I give this a shake. Come back up here. This is a good time for a cup of coffee. Tastes good. Now, the thing that we're kind of doing here is that we're providing some time for those other things to dry so that we can come back and work with them later on. So that brick, you know, we're not done with it, but it needs to dry, right? Looks pretty good. Looks pretty good. Not bad. But as we're working on that, we're going to get some of this other brick done, and we're going to use regular Army Painter paints for this. I like using Army Painters, and there's no real reason why, so to speak, other than it's what I'm comfortable with, and I like the pods that they have. The pots that they have, and how easy it is to control how much paint I put into the thing. Citadel paints are awesome, don't get me wrong, but I just struggle with their pots a little bit more than I like, so we don't. I don't use our Citadel paints unless usually I'm working with Warhammer, some kind of Warhammer stuff, because for some reason, maybe it's mental, but for some reason, I think that Games Workshop products take Citadel paints better. And again, I know that might be just a mental thing that I think, but that's just what I think. And now on this, we're trying to do, as you know, we do want to leave the detail of these bricks, you know, these kind of like cinder blocks. That's the way I'm thinking they are. That's what I think they are. They're just these like futuristic cinder blocks for the cement part of this building. And so I'm trying to put kind of a thin coat on here, but because I do want, when I go back and hit it with some toner, that it fills in those cracks. It's able to kind of go into those cracks. So I don't want to fill in those cracks with paint. I just want to make sure that it is providing a good concrete looking coat here. So I'm just trying to keep it pretty, you know, if it's a little lighter in some areas than others, that's fine. So Go back here for a little bit and you can kind of see what I'm talking about. So we're not talking about using a whole lot of paint here. We're just wanting to get some of those parts that are white and have them not be white anymore. And on this one, it's a darker, and then I'll come back with a lighter color gray on top of it and dry brush it, and it looks pretty good usually. But I'm not touching this duct work here because I do want most of that to be that metal color that I'm going to use later on, probably gunmetal gray. But and that gray will cover up anything that's on top underneath it. So I'm not really worried about it, but I'm just trying to stay a little bit tidy with it too. So. And sometimes you can just go with the grain here, and that makes things go a little bit smoother as far as that's concerned. But again, since we're working with concrete here, it doesn't have to be perfectly even as far as smoothness is concerned, because that'll lend partially to some of the texture of the concrete that's there. So it's one of the cool things about working with buildings, for me at least, is that you can kind of fudge a lot of the things that you would normally worry about on a regular model or something like that, because you're dealing with a lot of different types of textures. So that's one side of the concrete building. St. Louis Keys, I like Army Painter too. Their paint names make sense. Well, yeah, I can see that. I can see that. But yeah, I get it. That's funny though, because Warhammer, you know, Citadel goes with, you know, all of the themes that Warhammer brings with it, and if you're into 40K or something like that, then all of those names do actually make sense. But I get what you're saying. If you're not into 40K, then some of those names just will not be right. Now I gotta see, is this little circular thing, is that going to be a pipe that's running up the building, or is that something else? It looks like it's something else, so we're just going to go ahead and make it cement. See, those are the kinds of... a cement pipe that is running down this building right here, and that's just the way it's going to be, y'all. Okay, I'm going to hold this at a weird angle so that I can get the brush the way I want to on this one. Okay. And with some of these things, you just basically have to take your time. That's all. Not really hard per se, it's just gotta be patient a little bit. And that's probably going to be metal in there because that's part of the door. So we're just going to leave that be. And I think I'm actually going to paint this as well. Yeah, we might be able to go ahead and just get the inside of the wall done as well. Let me switch to the other angle though, because that might be a better angle for it. Well, it's going to be a horrible angle anyway because we're inside the building, but let's go ahead and just get as close down. I feel like I'm painting interiors again. Not something I wish I would doing, but I don't like cutting in. I always hated cutting in floor. Alright. But this is going pretty fast, so I do like that. Painting structures does usually go a little bit faster than painting miniatures for me. Maybe just because there's fewer small details. Maybe that has something to do with it, but I don't know exactly what it is, but it's something like that. I could probably stand to use a bigger brush on this, but we'll get it done. You know what also would work well on this, but I'm just not good at it? A paint gun. A paintbrush. That's what would work better on this. I'm just not good at them. I need to practice, and I don't have time to practice. But yeah, this concrete's going to go around this corner as well, so we can fill that in. Trying to make it as even as I can. That's good. Alright, so that interior wall is done along with the exterior wall. And yes, it does look a little choppy out here, doesn't it? I know none of you really probably said anything about that, but I do want to go back and touch up some of that so that there's a little bit of a darker coat. Maybe not all of it, but just enough to really kind of pull that base coat in a little bit. Again, we really just want to make sure it looks like concrete. That's all we're going for here. That's pretty good. Alrighty. Alright. Let's go ahead and go across the front of the building too. And that will allow us some time. Let's see. Let's go to let's go to this angle. Just kind of switch things up on you a little bit. All right. Okay, let's see. And here I'm just really kind of letting the brush play around. with the paint that's in it and pushing it into all of these little crevices, that because there's not a whole lot of room to make actual brush strokes. So I'm really just kind of letting the brush play around inside all of those grooves and depositing the paint in there, and that's pretty much doing the work for us. And again, I'm going to be coming back on all of this other stuff and kind of touching up on it and making it different colors and so forth. So I'm not really worried about, I'm not really too much worried about these other outer extremities, because I'm going to come back and do metal on the window frame and all of these other things down here. So I really just want to make sure that the paint is getting into those grooves on the cement parts of the building, and as long as that's happening, I can clean up everything else. So, and there's enough detail on the building to where I'll be able to pick out what needs to be gray, you know, concrete, and what needs to be metal or what have you. So I think we'll be okay from there on out. But again, I'm just trying to get that base layer down there. There we go. So, oh, that's a lot. I should probably clean my brush out now after this. Yeah, there we go. All right. That's pretty much set. All right, well, yep, I'm just going to have to come back and get all that other stuff painted in after that, because there's just too much, not enough room down there, and I'll come back and get all that stuff later. We're going to make that a different color, make some of these pop really well. Again, this is just kind of like a base coat, and I know, well, you might be saying, well, why did you base coat it with white the first time? Well, because I was planning on using a lot more of the speed paints initially, but as I made some other decisions, I kind of put the speed paints idea to the side. Not that I didn't think they would work, just that I wanted to try something else. I'm still learning with speed paints too, so I'm a little bit not, not, you know, not anxious or anything like that, but I'm just a little bit leery of using them too freely, because I know that because they do take skill. You can't just expect to pull out speed paints. Now they work a lot. They can have a really good effect a lot easier. Don't get me wrong, but to really get their full effect, you're really talking about some skill about how to apply them, how much to have on your brush, all that kind of stuff. So that all kind of works into using speed paints, and I haven't really got all that figured out yet. Oh, well, look at that. Dadgummit. I missed some brick down here. I needed to wash this brush out anyway. Let's come back here while I clean my brush, and I can let's see. Plus, St. Louis Keith says Army Painter has started to add description of their colors, like burnt moss as an added description of blackest green gray. Can always go back over it and make it clay pipe. Yep, that's true. Just noticed your Chewbacca watch band. Yep, that's one of the things I like to do. I like to have little tidbitty type stuff that shows that I'm a fan, rather than just the shirt. I love the shirt too, but I love this Rebel Scum shirt. It's one of my favorite shirts. Now I do need to take some of this Fire Giant. I just realized that I missed some bricks down here, so really need to get those covered in. And get those done. And there we have it. But I just didn't realize that that was there. So, that's interesting. Ba-ba-ba-ba. Alrighty. Now, let's see. That gray is just not the best, but it's okay. It's gonna come together. It's gonna come together. It's gonna come together. Let's go back to here for this one right now, I guess. Boom, there we go. Alright, gray is over here and down in here. That doesn't look too bad. Neato Frito. Here I'm just kind of playing with the edges there. I'm not so sure how much exactly I want to get in to get all this gray in there, but just kind of, I'm also, if you notice, I also changed the direction that I was painting, and that was just kind of something that I did on the fly. I didn't really even come into that thinking that I should, but There's some of those happy little accidents that Bob Ross used to talk about, right? It's not bad. I guess one of the things that I'm trying to foster here is that, you know, it might not look great right now, but I'm trying to look at it kind of that it is a work in progress, and so I'm like, yeah, I can work with this later on. I can make this look a little bit better later on. I can come back and touch this up, or come back and clean that up a little bit, or, you know, all that kind of thing. That's kind of the thought process that I'm using here, because with a building like this that obviously has some wear and tear to it, you're going to have blemishes. You're going to have those things that just don't look brand new. And so you're not trying to paint a brand new building. You're trying to paint a building that has scratches and dents and all that kind of stuff all over it. And maybe it's been painted over and over and over again, and there's, you know, it shows through on one part and it doesn't show through on another. So that's the kind of thing that I'm going for here. It's not so much a perfect paint job, because, I mean, you've got definitely two different kinds of textures that are going on here. So hopefully you can kind of understand that, you know, some of this bad paint job, quote unquote, is on purpose, so that, because it's something that I'm going for. It's a look, it's a texture, it's I don't know, maybe I'm just not making sense. I think I am, though. All right, I think that's pretty much done as far as that's concerned. Now what I think I need to do is finish these inside, but let me go ahead, instead of boring you with the details there. No, I'll just leave it there, that's fine. I'll just leave it there. Now, did I just mess up? No, I didn't. Okay, good. And one of the reasons why I'm going ahead and doing this is because I'm going to be able to, I'm going to do the walls, this concrete color on the inside as well. And after that, I'll be able to let this kind of sit and dry while I work on that other section. And you know, we'll have time to let this kind of dry out and all that kind of stuff. All right. So, all right, how's that? Boy, Uniform Gray is getting its work in today, ain't it? Just touching up the wall over here a little bit. Got a little bit grainy on a couple of parts, so I'm just trying to smooth that out a little bit so it doesn't look as... There we go. dropped it. Hello from Indiana. Garthen73 is here. You coming to Gen Con? Yes, sir, I am. I'll be there with Love Thy Nerd, and I don't know what booth I'm going to be working at, but I will be there, and I won't be in the booth all the time, so I'll definitely be able to kind of goof around and play some games and meet some people, and I'm looking forward to it. I will be there, though, but I don't know exactly what I'm going to be doing with and or for Love Thy Nerd, but I am... that's the one that I am actually... I know that I'm locked into. I think at this point that I'm going to be going to Origins as well, and I'll be working, I think, with Game Toppers at the Game Toppers booth. I think that's happening. I haven't got absolute confirmation yet, but I do. I have been in contact with Berkey at Game Toppers and Luke from Love Thy Nerd, and I believe the wheels are in motion for me to be at Origins. But yes, I'm also going to be at. I am definitely going to be at Gen Con. That is something that Love Thy Nerd has already said that is going to probably happen. So that's looking forward to that. I'm really kind of I'm really trying to be careful with how many conventions I go to, because I do have a lot of responsibility here at the house, at the home with the family, and so I'm trying not to neglect that as much as possible. And when I do schedule these things, well, I'm going to try to get in here like that. Look at there. Well, that didn't work out exactly the way I wanted it to, but there we go. But yes, I do think I'll be at Gen Con this year. So if you want to play some games or just chat for a little bit or whatever it might be, just please feel free. I'll probably be letting everybody know here on the channel exactly where I'll be and what I'll be doing and all that kind of stuff. So kind of keep an eye out for announcements on the channel. And absolutely, would love to meet you. Say hi. And okay, goodness. I'm done looking at gray, y'all. Jeez Louise, so much gray. And everybody's like, well, you chose it. I know, it's my fault. That's for sure. But oh my goodness, this is bringing back so many bad memories of interior painting. Oh my gosh. Do not like it at all. But really, I'm just going for coverage right now. I can come back and touch up for texture later on, but goodness gracious, it's taking a long time. I do not like it. Right. Goodness. All right. That's pretty much that. My goodness. Let's see. All right. There's a couple more strips here on the top. Well, this brush just doesn't want to fit in here. It doesn't want to bend the right way or anything. All right. I'll stop trying. There we go. That part of the door is going to be metal, in my opinion, so I'm not going to worry about any of that. I'll just get that side right there good. And then inside here as well. Yeah, man. Okay. So the concrete part, at least the base coat of the concrete part, is done. And just doing a little bit of smoothing out over here a little bit again. Nothing that needs to be done, but you never know. Okay. That one's pretty much done, so we'll come back over here and take a swig of coffee. Chat is quiet, but that's okay. I mean, I know I'm not usually doing this right now, so that is what it is. Now on this part, I'm going to have to probably use a yeah, I'm going to use this one, I think, because on this one we've got to cut these edges in, and so I want to use a straight edge. And we are going to be done here in about 15 or 20 minutes, though, so I do want to provide that caveat, because I do have another video going up later on this afternoon that I need to work on. And we're doing a live solo play of First Rat. Looking forward to that. It's going to be fun. This is fun too, but in a different way. So let's see here. We've got just this edge here that we want to we don't want to get much onto that brick. Not really worried about it too much, but I am. This is kind of a touch up here, so I don't want to provide more work for myself later on. So I want to be as clean with this as I can be. Now, if there's a little bit of, you can see there's, maybe you can, maybe you can't. There's a little bit of white that's showing through here. I'm not worried about that, because all of this is going to get another coat of a wash, and that wash will clear out some of that white area there. I'm not really worried about all that, but you kind of get the idea. And this is where we just kind of let the brush do most of the work for us. As far as, that's why I'm using a straighter edge brush, so I can just kind of get right up next to that edge and let some of that paint lip over the edge of it, and we're good to go. But this is going to tie the rest of the building in with the rest of that concrete. This is going to help tie in all of that stuff. So that's why we're deciding to go with this concrete color. All right, and I don't know that this is going to be concrete, but even if it's metal, that gray won't hurt it. Wash your brushes frequently, folks. More frequently than I do. Because that's just the way that is. I like to fill my brush up with probably too much paint. So there is that. I totally got too much paint on my brush there. Alrighty. All right. So it's cutting in pretty good. Well, I'm getting out of frame, aren't I? All right. So that's coming in a little bit. And so, just so that you can kind of see what we're going for here. This is probably not the best, but you kind of get the idea. The structure is starting to come together a little bit, because that little lip right there of gray ties into the concrete on the bottom, and it helps provide that continuance. So you kind of get what we're going for here. Come over to the other side, and we're going to be doing the same thing, just wrapping around that edge so we can provide that continuation. Like so. That's going to need another coat. saw somebody said something. I'll get to it in just a second. Luke Shiris, the white showing through the concrete will look like efflorescence. I'm guessing the metal conduit and mechanical duct will have a lot of rust stains, especially joints and straps. Absolutely. Yeah, those are all rust and joint straps and all of that kind of stuff. That is all more about detail work than what we're doing right now. What we're doing right now is kind of laying the groundwork that makes all of that other stuff possible, and will make it look really good later on. But really what we have to do right now is just kind of lay the groundwork for the rest of the model, so that all that stuff that we do later on really kind of pops. So I'm not really worried about, like I said, what you said about the white, that little bit of white showing is absolutely true. But and the fact that this is all kind of just foundational type stuff right now is another reason why I'm not really worried about a whole lot of textures and all of that other kind of stuff, because it's not even close to being done yet. This is still just a work in progress. I mean, even with these little cut-ins that I'm doing right here, I'm going to have to go back and do another set, another coat of cut-ins for it, so that, crud. Well, there's going to be a little happy accident that's just going to have to love being there. Like this right here, I'm thinking it might be metal. So I'm not even really, I'm putting gray on it right now, but I don't think it's going to be gray at the end of the day. This is just a lot of base coat type stuff. But it gives you a good idea of what we're trying to do, at least. All right, so that part is done. And we are getting to the point where I think we're going to have to close out for the day. We've been going for about an hour and a half, and that's about what I planned on for this. I've got to get set up and get ready for my live playthrough at 1 o'clock. And about an hour and a half is how much time I need. So we are pretty much done for today. We are at a point where we have most of the gray on there. This one's going to take a lot more gray as well, because it is the top of the building. And then of course this thing's going to be, this little thing here is going to be metal. But there's a lot of stuff that still has to happen. We're not even close to being done, but it gives you a start, and that's pretty much all we needed to do, is just provide a start. So we spent most of our time working on this piece right here, because that had most of the the gray cinder block color that's going on it, but we'll have some other things going too, so it'll be good. It'll be good. All right, let's go back over here. Boom. Thank you for being here. I know that probably wasn't as exciting as you were hoping it was going to be. I would chat a little more, but I'm watching it work. Don't tell my boss. Your secret is safe with me, Garthen. No worries at all. And again, I'm not worried about it. I'm just glad you guys are here and you decided to spend some of your day with me. So I appreciate it. We are going to get out of here though. So thank you for joining me. Be looking out on my Facebook, my Instagram, and that Tabletop Terrain Facebook page. And be looking out there for some works in progress that are coming, picks, and we'll probably do this one again here in a little bit. I do have to work on some of my Dire Chasm miniatures for Warhammer Underworlds Dire Chasm that Max and I are going to be playing in the future. We don't know exactly when. He's a farmer, and he's right in the middle of the thick of it right now for farming and getting ready for the harvest and all of that other kind of stuff. So he'll get back when he can, but until then, well, thank you guys for joining us. We certainly appreciate it, and we'll see you guys and gals in just about an hour and a half, hopefully, for a live solo play of First Rat. Really fun game. Haven't tried the solo mode yet, but we're going to be hitting that up this afternoon. So come on back in about an hour and a half. We'll see you guys and gals on the flip side. Take care.